Right, finally. You did that on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah.
So did that on purpose. What a tit. You're proud of yourself?
This is a tit.
No, this is a tit. You ready? I'm going to cut something in when Brian shit himself. There we go. No! Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. I am finally getting around to making the cart slash holder slash whatever trolley you want to call for this awesome Fronius welder. It is this transsteel 2200 with synergy mode. Now me and Brian are absolutely loving this at the minute because we've more or less finished the bash bar on Brian's car and we are welding 2mm stuff, 3mm stuff, 4mm stuff, because we've got 4mm plates there, 2mm plate here, and we have to keep switching very quickly. And look just how easy it is. So we've already got our wire speed set up and we've already got our bottle of gas set up. So we're telling it that we're using steel wire. So all we've got to do to go from different thickness steels is this. That's 2mm, 3mm, 4mm, 5mm, 5mm, and so on. It's as quick as that. The welder does everything else for you. Amps, wire speeds, you name it, volts, it does it for you. It's awesome. Now, if you're not used to listening to this welder, they do sound a little bit different on synergy mode to what you maybe are used to. But believe me, it's just so quick and easy to change different thicknesses of material. It's awesome, people. So I'm going to now finally get to do this. I'm using the two huge bottles, so I'm going to have, because this welder takes two bottles, because it's an arc welder, it's a MIG welder, it's a stick welder, it's a TIG welder. It does everything basically, and you can actually put two bottles of gas. So I'm using this MIG mix and I'm going to be using 100% argon, because I'm also going to be brazing with this with the MIG torch. Yes, you heard me right, brazing with the MIG torch. This machine allows me to do this. So when I'm doing cars and stuff, I'm going to be doing videos on restoring this Citroen. We're going to be doing a lot of brazing because the temperature's down, and I'll explain all that in another video. So we got these two huge bottles of gas we're using. So I've gone a bit overkill with the wheels. These are the back wheels, these are the front wheels. Now, these bottles of gas, when they're full, are 50-litre bottles of gas. So I'm going to have 100 litres of gas at the back of me essentially, so that's why I went for these big heavy wheels. And no, I'm not going to have the machine sitting this high because that's just going to make it roll too top heavy, and I'm going to have the wheels outside of the frame itself, and I'm going to sink these into the frame. So this is only going to be about that high off the ground, so I'm not going to have it all that. I've got nothing in my head at the minute. I just do it as I go along. I've got no real plans. I'm just going to have a shelf for the welder, have a bottom shelf and a place to put the gas. That's essentially all I'm doing. It's not going to be anything fancy. We've only got very simple tools here. So we've got the welder, and we had, but Brian's moved it. Oh, it's over there. We have a saw. That's basically it. So that's all I'm going to be using. Brian's made this one up a long time ago for his welder, so it's going to be kind of similar to that, but it's not going to be the same. And yeah, so let's crack on. I'm going to make a few measurements off camera, and then oh, I'm also making out of 1-inch box. So I've got a load of 1-inch box over there, and that's what I'm going to be making it out of. The whole thing is going to be made out of 1-inch box. What you doing?
Put the shelf in because you can never have enough storage.
Fact. Right, like I said, I don't know really what I'm doing yet. I've cut out a frame for this so I can weld this together and weld it on there. Then I can weld the actual back of it onto all this. because I'm going to sink this into the machine. So this is going to come here, and the fact that I've got this on, I can build up to this, and I've got a lot more to weld on to make it a lot stronger to sink this in. And I'm also going to make the back of it quite wide so it doesn't tip over, a lot wider than obviously the Welder. The 2 bottles of gas are the widest things, but I'm going to make it wider than that just so it's a lot more stable. So all I'm going to do is, I've made up this and I've made up another one. I'm going to just tack this together, and then I'm going to work out how far I'm going to sink this into the back and how big I'm going to make the back. I'm going to make it in sections. So the back I'm going to make separately, and then the actual case out part of it I'm going to make and then weld them all together. That's the plan. Right, this is where it's really handy, this synergy mode. I've just welded the steel onto the back plate. Now the back plate's a lot thicker, so I put it up to 3mm, and I'm welding onto 2mm. So what I did is I hit the 3mm first, and I basically brought the weld down to hit the 2mm so it wouldn't burn through. But now I need to go back to the 2mm because I need to weld all this up. It's just tacked, and all I do to go back is that's it. I don't have to do anything, don't have to change wire speeds, don't have to do anything. Now I can actually weld all these bits in that I've just tacked, and you can see it does some really nice weld, and it didn't burn anything, and I'm now set to go back to the 2mm stuff, as easy as that. Right, what I also love about this is just how easy it is to fill gaps. I'm using 0.8 wire, and I cut these kind of square, but this isn't square, the actual thing I'm welding it to. So I've got a bit of a gap there, you can see, and that welder, I'm gonna try and get Brian to film it now as I'm welding it, but that welder just filled that gap absolutely perfect. I mean, I didn't struggle, I didn't burn through, it just filled it beautiful. So I'm gonna try and get Brian to film this as I weld this, just this little section here, so you can see how easy it just fills. Now, I only quickly did that just to give you an idea, but you saw the gap there, just quick, easy, welds up the gap, absolutely no problem. 0.8 wire, and down here I had about a 3mm gap, and it just welded it absolutely lovely. So there we go. Beautiful. Right, because this shed is like a work in progress, just like this, we're not really set up properly to do any of this. So what I've got is I've got these squares, and as long as you have them all the metal rests on the squares, it doesn't matter if it's on level, because it will be level. I'll explain that in another video. But anyway, so I've got it all halved. That's how I'm going to do it essentially. I've got 4 of these 90-degree squares, and it allows me to set everything up and just tack weld everything. Once it's all tack welded, it doesn't really matter, then I can, you know, weld it properly. But you can see, you know, just how important it is to get these square. This is going to be the bottom to hold the 2 bottles. This is what I've got in mind. So I'm going to put them inside the box, the wheels that is, and as you can see they're only sticking down a little bit, so it's going to be really nice in the stability. I'm going to weld these on and weld some more, obviously get that in the middle, and weld some angle pieces there, and then my bottles can sit in the middle, kind of over the weight of these wheels. These wheels will be taking these 2 big heavy bottles, and once I strengthen all that up, it's going to be absolutely fine. These wheels are seriously heavy duty. They're going to be taking all the pressure, and then the front wheels, which are here, are obviously still really heavy duty, but they don't need to be anywhere near as big, and obviously these can turn and lock, where these are just solid. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to get some nice checker plate, diamond checker plate, and box all this in so it's going to look really nice. So let me just get all this welded in, both sides, leveled in the middle, and yeah, once I've done all that, we'll turn the camera back on, but we're getting there. Right, we are getting there. It's looking like a creation from Robot Wars, and me and Brian, after I put the thing in, we're going to attempt, you know how they say women live longer than men? Well, we're going to show you why, because we're going to attempt to ride this. And
no, wait a minute, you're going to attempt to ride it, I'm bringing you to hospital afterwards.
Yeah, and then once I've healed, Brian's going to ride it and I'll bring him to hospital, because we haven't learned anything from my trip to the hospital. But I'm getting there. Right, I just want to show you this. Look at these welds. Now, I'm no welder. I'm more used to welding up 1mm steel in cars, you know, spot, 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 tacking it, grinding it, tacking it, grinding it. And just look at these. Brian's more of the welder as regards heavier stuff. That's what he's more used to, and I'm more used to the car stuff. But even me, look what sort of welds I can get out of this machine. And that's letting it do its own settings. It's just me just doing the donkey work, basically. Right, it's all done. I have just tried to stand on it, but the problem is I literally killed myself. Maybe when I put a floor on it I might try, but we've got it all in. The reason why I had to grind off most of my welds is because I'm going to be plating all this, and the welds are sticking out a little bit in certain places, and you know, the plate won't land in properly. So that's more or less the gas bottle side done. I just got to put some stays in here so I can leave the flat plate along the bottom. So just put some strength in behind that. But that essentially is it, and believe me, it is solid. It's not going anywhere. This welder is just awesome. That's 5mm to 2mm. Like I said, I'm a lot more used to welding up cars, 1mm metal, you know, little tack welds here, there and everywhere. I'm not really, you know, used to welding, you know, big stuff because I've never really done it. But this welder just makes you better than what you are. It's awesome. Okay, I've gone overboard again. Lots and lots of strength in there because there's two big heavy bottles that are going to be sat there. That's the hard part done, because that's a lot of cutting and welding and stuff. The next is just the bottom tray and the top tray at a slight angle. You can see where I've even marked it already. So we're going to make the bottom tray, weld that in, and we're getting there. This is definitely looking like something from Robot Wars. Right, and there we go. I've got it all on now, so it's all wheelable. It's completely level, which is good. And I just got to put some cross braces in now, cross braces in there, and that's essentially the bottom done. It's just a case of building the second tier for the welder, bit of storage here for the gas bottles there. But we are looking really good.
Do you think that maybe you should have installed off-road wheels? They're very solid and there's no suspension in it. Look at the ground. Look at the ground.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
You need a bit of...
Okay, let's just rip it all down and start again.
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, this is my thinking here. I need to strengthen up the back section, and because I've welded it on top because of the way the wheels line up and to make it level, I'm thinking of putting this across here, leaving it hanging out, say 2 inches or so. I've cut it at 45, so this 45 come in here, and as you can see, it welds a nice triangle there. I can weld all the way around that. It looks nice. There's no overhang here, and it looks nice from the other side. Same this side. Well, you get the idea. Nice triangle there. Weld all that together. Weld all that together. This also leaves me the base for the well, the actual base, so it leaves something for the base to hang on, just like I've done here. Another couple across there, and then the bottom is done. So let me just get all that welded in and I'll show you what it looks like. Right, I've just stitched it across because I'm going to have to grind down them welds a little bit to make sure my plate goes flat. I've left a gap. That's the important thing. I've left a gap so the weld can sink down. I didn't really leave a gap on these. That's why the weld looks a bit high. If you leave a gap, the weld can sink down and you don't have to do as much grinding. I'm not going to be grinding these anyway, but I am going to be grinding these so my plate sits flat. I'm also going to be grinding that off so the second angle piece sits flat. But as you can see, there's nothing wrong with them welds. They look nice and they're going to do what they need to do. Nice flat flush welds, because you want to smooth it off for whatever reason. Always leave a gap, because as you can see, this is now flat here and across here, but because I've left a gap, the weld can go in. If you put them up too close together and weld over the top and grind it all down, you've only got a very, very thin piece of weld holding it on. It's not very strong at all. I was just showing you, you can actually do it that way if you want, but you need to leave a gap. Right, I had a bit of technical difficulty with the wheels. When I brought this wheel with the lock on, I meant to pick up 2 wheels with the lock on. And I just saw the blue wheel and assumed it was the same, and I've just realised it isn't. And the issue is, when I put all this together, this wheel is smaller than this wheel. So rather than cutting all this off, what I decided to do was cut this off, and I've got a 6mm gap there now, and I just want to show you with 0.8 wire and a 6mm gap with this welder just how easy it is. I can fill that up absolutely no problem. I didn't clean it down properly, so it's a little bit thingy, but you're going to get the idea of how easy it is to fill.
I just like to say there's absolutely no way that Leon would try this ordinarily unless it was an awesome welder, because you know usually he's hopeless at welding.
Well, my old welder was kind of fucked. And why was my old welder fucked? It was working fine till someone put a switch in it. Can you remember? Who was that?
You were okay
who
with
put
that.
the switch in it? Just kind of, is it recording? You get it?
Yeah. Do you use auto-tune?
What?
Auto-tune?
Auto-tune. I can sing perfectly. Have you heard me sing in the shower? See? Fucking pitch perfect. Ready?
Okay.
Boom!
Oh, blow me down. You actually did what you were going to say. Tell you what you said.
Thanks. Blow me down. It's all the same to you. I won't blow you, Brian. Right, this is the other side. I just did load of spots, but you can see the penetration. You can see the heat of the welder, so how it goes in. But that is just load of spots together. And if we can get the inside of it, look at that as well. And that's what I'm going to be showing when I'm welding up cars, how to, you know, bridge gaps and stuff. But you can just see how good it bridged that. And if I clean that, it would look even better. You know? Boom. Alright, do you want to see something really cool? Let's get Brian to film this.
Can you narrow it while you do it?
Look at that!
Yes.
Now what I'm also
Look at that.
going to do-
It's a piece of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, shame about the driver. Now what I'm also doing with these is essentially covering up all that as well. It's going to be covered up that side and obviously on top.
We wouldn't want,
Yeah.
you know, any mud splatter with the speed it's going to go.
How cool does that look though? The checker plate really finishes it off.
It looks marginally cool.
Right, so that's my top shelf there. It's about 2 foot away. These bottles are 5 foot high, so it's going to hold the bottle nicely. And I was just working out how am I going to have the top shelf. I was going to do some arty-farty thing with nice curves in it and stuff like that, make it look a bit more unusual. But then the issue is I'm wasting the space. If I was going to put like, I was going to get the box and I was going to do like a swervy kind of X type thing, but then I'm not going to be able to put anything there because it's going to take up all the room, so I'm going to lose the bottom shelf. It will look nice, but I'm going to lose the bottom shelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some angle iron and just be kind of boring and go straight up. But at least then I can use the bottom shelf as something as well, you know, for all the welding bits. And yes, that's what I'm going to do. So let me get all them cuts. I'm going to put it at a slight angle, so the front shelf's going to be sticking out past the front and at a slight angle kind of backwards. Haven't worked that out yet, but yeah, we're getting there. Right, I'm just working out my measurements now and my falls and stuff like that, because I have a 2-inch fall on that now, so the welder can't really go anywhere. Also, I think it's high enough, and I've left it sticking out. I left the arm sticking out here because what I tend to do is I'm going to chamfer these off. I'll show you, do a nice little pointy weld on that, it just looks a bit nicer. Then I'm going to weld a bar in the middle here as a handle. So I know I'm going to be, once there's two big huge bottles on it, you know, 100 litres, 50 litres a bottle, I know I can be able to grab that and just turn it round. I'm not worried about it falling over or anything, because the way I've stanced it and the footprint I've got on it, I know it's not going to be an issue. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. What I'm doing is just putting some little, so they're just like little points at the edge, so it's not just a flat panel. You obviously don't have to do this. What you do is you need to measure the inside or the middle of your pipe or bar, whatever it happens to be. This is obviously inch. You put a mark. Now I'm going 10 mil in. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these little triangles left on there. The mark I've used is way too thick, but anyway, I'm going to cut on the inside line, which is right. And then it'll leave these 4 little triangles left. We then, well, I'll show you, we then just cut and bend, and it just leaves a nice little point at the end of the pipe once it's all welded up. Cut them. Looks like little triangles. It's going to leave like a nice little pyramid shape at the end. And what I've also done is I've just cut slightly into the metal there, just to allow these to bend a lot closer, or a lot easier. I'm just going to get a hammer and just going to hit all these till they all touch. Right, as you can see, I've done it, so that the camera focus in. Now what you can do is you can bend these as far in as you want, or keep them out as much as you want, depending on what type of look you're going for. I want a slightly kind of like pyramid shape. I don't want to go in too far. And then I just weld all that up, grind it all off, and it leaves a nice shape behind. You know you've got a good quality clamp when it clamps its own self to it and earth it at the same time. Right, you can see kind of the shape you get like a pyramid shape. Now you can obviously polish this or linish it any way you want, if you want it flat or point or anything like that. But as you can see from this one, it just finishes off the end. Rather than just putting a flat plate there, it just gives it a little bit of shape. And that's hot, I knew it would be. And you know, it does, you see it is quite pointy. So I'm just going to do the same with that, and then put my handle across there. Boom. Look what I've just made. It's not a welding cart, it's a chariot, but it's not designed for a full horse, it's designed for an arse, which is you bastard. Which is perfect for Brian the ass. Go on, pull me. Woohoo.
You're too wide.
We've made
a fat joke, by the way.
Yeah, I gathered that. We made a chariot. Right, look at that. We are really close to being done now. What I got to do is I got to stick the welder on here, work out where I'm putting the stays for the welder to kind of keep it in place. I've made this a little bit bigger for a few reasons. One, if I'm getting a bigger welder or a smaller welder or whatever, you know, it's always handy to have the extra space, and I can just put stuff in place to keep the welder there. Also, I wasn't sure if I was going to go all the way to the back with the plate, because I've made this longer on purpose, because I now need to work out something to hold the gas bottle. So I might be cutting a bit of this plate off. I put all the stays in behind. Can I show you? All there, so all for support. And then what I might do is build something off the back of this support here to hold the bottles in place, but we'll work out that another day. But as you can see, we are really close getting this done. I got my handle on it, and there we go. There's the pointy ends, just makes it look a little bit nicer. But boom. Okay, and that's it with the welder on. You can see the gap that I've got, so I'm going to do something with that, whether I push it to one edge and do something. But you also got to bear in mind you need to get to the spool here, so we have to do something with that. Or I might just, I'll show you in a second. But anyway, there's our handle. We're at perfect working height here, but as you can see, we've got plenty of space at the back, which is what I planned for. So if we did, for example, say something like that to keep the welder in place, right? I've still got a few inches here to build off something, or even build it off here, it doesn't really matter where, build off something to support my bottles. I've got a few ideas in my head, but like I said, I haven't done anything as regards writing this down or anything like that. I just do it as I do, just the same as with this. We didn't write anything down, just kind of did it, and plans change halfway through and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Once I get all the checker plate covering all there, it's going to look really nice. It's just a case of working out what's holding the bottles on now.